That that's okay. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Sapient. Today we have, I would say, an outstanding, creative guest. So, hi John, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, it's actually a really sunny day.
Yeah, which is a rare thing, right? From where you are.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, I think that's why Brits invented sunshine and unicorn in the same sentence,
We get
right?
a few days, but this is lovely. Lovely morning.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, so I was just reading all of your work on LinkedIn, because that's where professionals come together, right? uh, yeah. How did you get to where you're today? I know it's a very broad question.
mm. um so like many people who have ended up working in animation,
Yeah.
most people end up start because they love drawing, they love telling stories, they love watching TV, and that was my experience. I then and I was better at drawing than virtually anything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
then I went to art school. I studied animation,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then went round trying to get jobs in it. Did a bit of freelance work, and
Mm-hmm.
then ended up starting a company with me and two other guys doing film and animation. And
Mm-hmm.
that was about 18-ish years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, but then in terms of where I am now, because
Mm-hmm.
it's one thing to start a company, it's another thing to still have a company. Um, some of it is just um, surviving,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I think a lot of it comes from meeting, making connections with people, being open to new experiences, and work we've done for people leading to other work, and then getting a good reputation for being honest and
Mm-hmm.
working hard and delivering what people want. So that's, I guess, that's the how I've got to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't
Yeah.
think I'm very far down the line yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, but John, if I imagine it, over the 18 years, you must have seen the whole arc of development of technology, right?
Yeah, so it's interesting. When we started as a company, um, we did a music video. It's
Mm-hmm.
the first thing we did was a music video, and we shot that on real film,
Mm-hmm.
which today, um, it's only Christopher Nolan that shoots on real film, but we shot on
Yeah.
real film. And we did, it was live action, but there was some special effects shots that I did in it, and those
Mm-hmm.
special effects shots, people were very kind of, people are used to it now, but then
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
idea that that was coming out of a few young guys,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um, with computers without, a massive studio or whatever, was
Mm-hmm.
pretty um, unusual.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and when I was studying, there was a
Mm-hmm.
real 3D computer generated animation had kind of become the big thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it was actually, I stuck with 2D, which was um, like commercially more
Mm-hmm.
stupid. But I think we've seen a bit of a resurgence of 2D animation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that yeah, when I started doing animation, I did it on paper with what's called a peg bar to keep the
Mm-hmm.
paper in the same position, and we would flick through that and just draw physically, and
Mm-hmm.
no one would pay for that in these days, or
Yeah.
in they would in some places, but not for me. So we very quickly were completely digital.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I draw with a pen into the computer,
Mm-hmm.
and I do have physical sketchbooks that I sometimes draw stuff in. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Do you think the learning curve is somewhat aided with technology today if someone wants to start with animation?
Oh, so much easier. So when I studied it, we didn't get the
Hmm.
best education, to be honest, and
Hmm.
um, there was very few resources out there,
Hmm.
or we certainly didn't know about them. But today, there are so many resources out there.
Hmm.
There's brilliant books. Lots of the old books that were around before I was born are easier to find. You've got
Hmm.
brilliant books that have been written more recently. I'm sitting opposite the Animation Survival Kit, which is a
Hmm.
brilliant book. Then there's courses. You've got Aaron Blaze's course teaching animation, which
Hmm.
is well, his teaching art, creature art teacher, he's brilliant, and there's so
Hmm.
many resources there. There's websites like Proco where there's loads of art courses on there. It's just if you start googling, there
Hmm.
are so many resources to learn so many things,
Hmm.
and it doesn't have to cost the earth.
Yeah.
It's so much better now.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I wish I had time to learn more.
Yeah. Do you think back in the day when you started out, do you think the lack of, I would say, availability of knowledge, brought out a lot of creation, or sorry, creativity in you?
Yes, I think it did. So, um, although I think there was a how would I put it? So me and the two guys that worked together initially, we had to be quite entrepreneurial in the way we thought about things. We had to just work stuff out
Hmm.
and become very self-reliant because we weren't getting help as much help as we needed. So we had to just figure stuff out yourself.
Hmm.
And when you're in that position, you're trying to figure stuff out yourself. You create loads of bad habits, but you start to learn everything. So I think it makes you a good director because
Hmm.
you've got that big broad view and you know how different things work.
Hmm.
Um, it's probably not so good for the specialized skills. Uh,
Yeah. Hmm. Got it. So, you know, because I was just going through your LinkedIn and the
mm,
website also, um, and I found it quite amusing. How creative people are, right? Because now it's all AI generated, at least in my generation.
mm.
You know, um, but the sad thing is, people use AI to respond to messages. Um,
I'm not even sure how you do that because, anyway, yeah, AI is another thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what inspires you? Because of course, through 18 years, you would have run into some dry years, right? Where you might have a creative block, as they call it as. But how did you counter that? Like, how did you get out of that?
Mm. So you, I think it's being inspired by everything and anything. So being inspired by nature, being inspired by books. Often I'll be reading something and it'll give me an idea,
Hmm.
or I'll bump into someone, have a conversation, like this conversation even.
Hmm.
Someone will say something, it sparks an idea, or I'm watching a film, and often it's not, not often, almost every time, it's very, very, what's the word? Um, it's not it's not very direct. It just kind of pops
Hmm.
into your head from nowhere, and it's not a straight line. Um, and I think it's because all the inputs you have kind of go into
Hmm.
your subconscious, and then they kind
Yeah.
of come out. And most of our work has been for companies and charities and local government,
Hmm.
and so usually there's something you're trying to sell or an idea you're trying to communicate,
Hmm.
or um, yeah, some kind of information you need to get across.
Hmm.
And so usually that's a part of the mix because yeah, if I don't know, you've got to communicate. what
Hmm.
a company does. You need to know what that company is about, what
Yeah.
industry they're in. So that's a creative input.
Hmm.
Um, so
So it's more of a
yeah.
candid thing, right, rather than a flow.
So it's interesting because a lot of stuff comes out of conversation
Hmm.
um, and it's the flow comes when you're working on it in a
Hmm.
way. But there's kind of it's like points of inspiration,
Hmm.
but then um, when you get it, you're just
Hmm.
like full steam ahead, and everything else just kind of disappears, and you're
Yeah,
just working on it in that moment.
got it. Yeah, I mean I think that's one of the gifts that creative people have, right? They're able to go into these spaces where I would say not everyone can exist, right, and just live there.
I think I think it's a muscle.
Hmm.
So it's I don't think it's literally a muscle. But it's like a muscle
Hmm.
where if you're really fit and you go you run a marathon every day and
Hmm.
you're you're able to do more. Your body's ready for it. And
Hmm.
if you're unfit like me,
Hmm.
you'll walk around the block and you're like, and so I think I think the getting into flow, being creative, all of
Hmm.
these things are muscles that you work on, you get,
Yeah.
and the more you do it, I've noticed that when we've had, well, um, when I haven't done so much,
Hmm.
I've not been so good at it. So,
Yeah, got it. Okay, there's a fun question I would say. Like, since you have run your company for 18 years, right?
hmm,
How much do you trust in luck or believe in luck?
brilliant question. Um, so luck is a so ultimately, I would
Mm.
say there isn't luck. That
Hmm.
I'd say that the world is designed and God is ultimately in control of the
Hmm.
whole world, and so there's nothing outside of that. So isn't really luck,
Hmm.
but at the same time, there are experiences like when you roll a dice, you know that
Hmm.
gravity is pulling it in certain directions, and the numbers are gonna. But there are serendipity. You know, the serendipitous. So it's like
Yeah.
something that serendipitous situations that happen, and
Hmm.
you could look at it from multiple perspectives. So I would say, oh yeah, God set up that situation, but you could, from another perspective, you go, oh, that was really lucky.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess it depends which perspective you view it from, but yeah,
Hmm.
I would see a kind of God behind it view.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know who said it, but someone said like luck is the air miles that you accumulate when you travel.
Yes, yeah, and it's also that it's that thing where you get more lucky if
Hmm.
you work harder, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can work really, really hard and get nothing for it.
Yes,
And there
definitely.
are plenty of people around the world that work themselves to a bone
Hmm.
and they do everything right
Yeah.
and things don't go well for them. And there are
Hmm.
people that do virtually nothing but if you work hard you're more likely to be lucky, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you
Um
have more probability, right? You are more probable to be lucky.
yeah, there's a guy called Rory Sutherland who's a ad executive at Ogilvy, and he
Hmm.
talks about increasing your surface area. And
Hmm.
so the wider you are spread, the
Hmm.
more likely that you're going to get lucky because you're out there.
Yeah.
If you sit in your room, don't talk to anybody,
Hmm.
and don't produce any work, then
Yeah.
who's going to know you even exist?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That I think that's becoming more a reality, right? Where
mm,
people are more, um, I would say, induced, right, into being, leading a solitary life, um,
yes,
and we all pretend to be connected.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a disaster because humans are relational creatures.
Mhm.
We're supposed to be in relationship with one another. And if we're
Yeah.
all stuck inside, atomized at our computers, or phones, even worse than computers, and we think that we're having relationships because we're interacting with a screen, then we're
Yeah.
going to get sadder and more depressed and less productive
Mhm. Yeah,
and less inspired.
yeah, and at the end of the day, it does affect our health, right? In
Mm,
terms of even physical health.
mm, absolutely.
Yeah, that's something that I think people need to more be more attentive of, right?
Yeah.
Trying to talk to people and making a connection at least.
Is it as bad in India as it is here?
No, it's not, because we are
Good.
heavily populated, John. We are leading towards 1.5 billion
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, you're overtaking China,
Yeah.
which I'm actually very happy about.
Yeah, but it is sad that a lot of countries are going to go extinct soon, right? Like
And well, they're
South
talking about
Korea,
South
Japan.
Korea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
I don't know whether I could believe that stat or not. I read somewhere that by 2054 South Korea would be extinct at this rate.
yeah. I've heard stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
it's in our lifetimes, right, that we could see a country go extinct.
yeah. And it's funny because China, which had the largest population in the
Hmm.
world, and they thought they were so clever with their one-child policy,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
been an absolute disaster. It's gonna the China's just been in the ascendancy, just getting more and more
Hmm.
successful,
Yeah.
and because they enacted that kind of policy, they're
Hmm.
basically committing suicide, and they're
Yeah.
this is why one of the reasons they're being so powerful on the world stage is
Hmm.
because they know that their window of opportunity is shrinking because
Yeah, it's very small. Yeah.
yeah, you can't. What are you going to do with an aging population?
Hmm. Yeah, and also it's an economy designed to extract best out of people,
Yeah,
and you cannot particularly do that with you know aging population.
yeah, and the great thing is in both in India and China is that you've got
Hmm.
growing middle class. So you've got
Yeah.
it's not just the rich and the poor, but now you've got kind of people that can spend money on s-
Hmm.
a few discretionary items.
Yeah.
That just transforms the whole economy and makes it a lot
Yeah.
more exciting.
Yeah, but, even till 2022 China was the largest consumer of iPhones. Now
Mm,
it's India.
yeah.
I wonder why. Yeah, India has this I would say fascination with technology, um because people see India as like a washed out country, meaning any technology that comes in other countries matures and then it's dumped to India, right?
Mm,
But India is a country, we are very much are the early adopters of any technology.
yes.
So it has
Yeah.
its own advantages and disadvantages, of course.
Yeah. The technology gives in one hand and it takes with the other. So
Yeah.
you've got to be really careful with technology
Hmm.
because if you're when you're the early adopter, you're the guinea pig,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you don't know what it's doing to your psychology
Hmm.
until you've had it.
Yeah,
But it
exactly.
also gives you that advantage. You're ahead of the game. You can do more stuff.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, for example, smart watches, right?
mm,
Now EU says that European Union says that it's dangerous, like it's not healthy to wear smartwatches all the time.
oh really,
Yeah, and India, it's like anybody will have, like almost everybody has a smartwatch, I think.
really,
Yeah, it is so affordable here. It's almost laughable. It's like I would say for $15 you have a smartwatch here.
wow.
So it's like wild.
Mm. The more people have smart watches than phones.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what direction we are walking into, and that is where I want to ask you, like, do you get ideas like Mad Max sometimes when you think about the world in a I would say in a very micro pessimistic way?
Yes. I
Yeah.
used to be really optimistic about this stuff, but as I've got older, is it because I've got older, or is it because everything has just been shown to make stuff worse?
Yeah. 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 That statement, right? You have become what you fear or what you hate, right? Young people hate old people, but when they become old, they start hating young people.
I don't hate anyone, so I'm all right
That's
there.
good. Yeah, that's a healthy approach. Yeah. So have you like thought of making a series like Mad Max, or like similar, like post-apocalyptic messed up world?
Well, the the animation I'm working on at the moment,
Hmm.
Jazz Cow,
Yeah.
is it's not post-apocalyptic. It's kind of parallel to our world. It's fiction. It's completely fictional and not. It's not set in the future or the past. It's set in its own
Hmm.
universe in a way. And but the bad guy of the show, Doctor Pop, he's controlling the world.
Hmm.
He's controlling people with algorithms. So he's got his
Hmm.
big tech company and all the people under him, and but people love it. They love
Yeah.
having all this technology. They love
Hmm.
having their brains emptied out by all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's this, and then that's offset by the resistance movement of Jazz Cow
Hmm.
and um, his friends who are just want to play jazz, but they're
Hmm.
fighting against this big tech
Yeah.
platform. So it's kind of a dystopia, but it's a like a Brave New World. The people are kind of happy to be in a dystopia,
Hmm.
which is kind of where we're at in society. I mean, everyone's like, "Yeah, a new phone, an iPhone 50.4 Z or whatever," and they like get super excited about it. And it's that then they're like bent over just staring at this
Yeah.
screen, and they don't have any relationships.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think your show Jazz Cow, it's like a branch of the current timeline, right?
Yeah,
Almost. Instead of it being its own universe, I would say it's just a branch of the timeline that we are living in. Like
yeah,
like big rich people having tech companies
yes,
and controlling people. Yeah. I once had an author. She's also from Britain.
mm,
So she writes books in terms of how bad the future could be.
okay,
So she wrote a book, and it was for I think for 2030 it was set in, and she started writing it in 2017 or 18. And she came onto my podcast last year 23, and she said, I imagined the worst, like the worst scenario, and wrote it in the book, but I really didn't realize it would happen so quickly.
yes.
She's like, my book is outdated.
It's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see something like that happening with your series?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, the series we first came up with the idea about 20 years ago,
Hmm.
and the things that we would do, the things that we were laughing and joking about, and
Hmm.
constructing it around, a lot
Yeah.
of that has come true, and we've had to push it more
Hmm.
extreme in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's like I don't think human brains can comprehend, right, the future, like how bad it can be.
But there's always an optimism because
Yeah.
people always fight back against tyranny. People
Hmm.
always there's always a resistance,
Yes.
and um, people, and it's unlikely people. Well, in
Hmm.
India, right, with Gandhi,
Yeah.
that wasn't some random lawyer guy
Hmm. Yeah.
manages to free them from the
Hmm.
the world's most powerful empire,
Yeah.
and doesn't use violence as method. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Hmm.
who knew that that was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
There's always a counter, and
Hmm.
it's like if you were in Nazi Germany, you'd have thought that would last forever,
Hmm.
and it collapsed.
Yes.
And it wasn't actually that long. It feels
Hmm.
like it's
Yeah, it's
such a
not that
big,
long.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, I don't know which scientist said it. They said that, the whole humanity is like a blimp in the timeline, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like in 8 billion years, like humanity is what? Not even like 10,000 years. It's like just a blimp. He did not say blimp, he said fart.
That's a little bit too negative about humans, though. I think
Yeah.
I'd I think it's that tension of saying
Hmm.
we are small.
Hmm.
If you compare the whole universe, we're
Yeah.
just this tiny little dot. In terms of the span of history, we're just this tiny thing,
Hmm.
and yet we have such value. And I think that's where I'd push back at the scientists and say,
Yeah.
yeah, we might be tiny, but we still got value.
Yeah. We might be shit, but we're not fart. Is the statement. Yeah. Yeah. That's the kind of pushback we're looking at.
I was thinking slightly more positive than that, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I also saw that, the jazz cow and your team, you have some pretty credible people in there, right? Like few
Mm.
great people. How did you assemble this team? Was it just through networking, or was it like you are my friend and you're going to work on this?
So it's yeah, as I've mentioned earlier, we've been running our company for a long time,
Hmm.
and when you've been around a long time, you bump into people.
Hmm.
They're people I've worked with at different points, and if you build up trust when you work with people,
Hmm.
and so that it was mostly through connections, through just having been around a while. People
Hmm.
have put a lot of work in without any financial reward yet, so
Hmm.
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I really respect them for that. But yeah,
Hmm. So it's mostly through networking.
yeah,
Got it. Because in India we have two directors of Bollywood.
mm,
Every movie that they both make, they will give each other cameos,
that's great.
and their conversation is like, you are going to be in it.
That's so funny.
So it's like whether the movie makes it or not, and they both don't get paid for the cameos.
Mm,
It's just like, you're my friend and you're going to do it.
that's great. It's great that it's
Yeah.
just continued.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's only possible in creative field, right? I don't think in any other field that would work quite, because people enjoy the process of making something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think that's true. I mean, the money that people make
Mm-hmm.
in creative fields is a lot lower
Yeah.
than the amount of hours they put in because
Mm-hmm.
people want to be part of it,
Mm-hmm.
and so we all end up having no money because we're halfway between like a drug addict and I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like we need to keep working on the next thing.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, I would agree on that, because whenever, because right now OTTs are a big thing in India, right? Like, you know, uh, I would say like Amazon Prime and other, web.
okay.
Uh, I'm not getting the right word. I don't know what happened to me. Web streaming platforms, right?
Mm,
So right now OTTs are a big deal. It's called as OTT. I don't even know the full form of it. I'm sorry for being an, illiterate on this topic.
I'd never heard
Um,
the word before, but yeah. So,
so OTT is a, it's called as platforms. It's called as, give me the minute, over the top. So it's like over the top
oh,
platforms. So You can watch it on your mobile phone or anywhere you want. So OTT is a very big deal in India. And
Mm.
now, because a lot of web series are coming up, right? And they see a character in a web series and they're like, oh my god, this person is so good, you know, they are successful. I'm like, that person is 50 years old, you have never seen him before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That person has probably struggled for 30 years.
Yes. Yeah, that would be the case, and they probably would have been not been paid well for 30 years,
Yeah.
and um,
And the same society would have labeled them, useless for 30 years.
yes,
Right?
and then when they do make money, the government will probably take it all away from them and say, "Ah, you made a lot of
Yeah.
money."
Yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. Yeah. So, I feel like, creative field is the only field where you can have other people working for you for free,
Yeah,
because you enjoy the process. I truly believe that, if you and me, we both built pyramids, you could not ask me to come and build, the pyramid for free.
no, absolutely not.
Right? But yeah, um creative people in terms of authors, musicians and movie makers, and these industries can operate on that, I would say, mode, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, let's work on this one thing, let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I think that justifies the, pay that, actors take, or actresses take, celebrities or directors or writers, anybody.
Mm.
Right? Because it's like, it took me 2 minutes to fix something, but it took me 4 years to learn that.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Um, and people don't know the. It's like the bottom of the iceberg. People just don't know
Hmm.
what's there. But
Yeah.
once you do it, you realize.
Yeah. And also, I'm sorry, I was just drinking water. um yeah, and also, when people say boycott a particular movie because I don't like the actress or the actor, I'm like, you're a stupid person, because the amount of people involved in making a movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. I was talking to a Canadian
Hmm.
producer
Yeah.
who's of Indian heritage,
Hmm.
and he was telling me that he produced a film
Hmm.
in Canada, and it had some kind of Indian
Hmm.
theme or something. And people went through the credits and were counting
Yeah.
the names and seeing how many of the team were Indian.
Yeah.
And it's
I
just, what
uh
is wrong with people that they spend all that time? Like, it's
Yeah.
such a.
Hmm. It's especially Indian expats or Indian immigrants that do that. Yeah, because
It,
they go to the Liberty Land and they think they're also, libertarians, like woke people. That leads to that problem. Even in
yeah,
India right now, that problem is there. Because a lot of actors, like celebrities, are the result of nepotism, of course.
of
Right?
course. I mean,
And
that's the
they
same
hate it.
everywhere in the world, but in India, nepotism
Yeah.
is a massive problem.
Yeah, and it's not a problem, in terms of problem. It's just that they get the first movies that, nepo kids have, are big movies, and people don't like it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but if you look at it, even business has nepotism, right?
everything has it's and it isn't a good thing in society. And there's an Indian news reader, Palki or something. I can't remember her
Hmm.
name.
Yeah, Palki Sharma. Yeah.
Yeah, and when there was there was a Olympic race with a Somali
Hmm.
girl that came like
Yeah, yeah.
she was really slow runner, poor girl,
Mm.
but she got the job because her uncle was on the Olympic committee or something,
Yes,
and
yes.
poor girl had to have this indignity of being the slowest runner and like being laughed at by everybody in the world.
Yeah.
And a Palki was saying, and this is the problem we have in India. This is India is like this girl, and she's like really going in for this rant, and I
Yeah, yeah.
I just found her hilarious. But
Yeah.
it is the problem if you start employing the people because they're relative rather than they're good,
Hmm.
it brings the whole economy down, and it is bad for a country. But
Yeah.
it is the way the world works.
Hmm.
I've been to job
Yes.
interviews where I thought it went well, and
Hmm.
then later found out. and didn't get the job, and later found out that it was a relative of the person
Yeah, it was
who
fault
was
of your blood,
interviewing.
right? Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so I just went to this for no reason.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're just a statistic to them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Then you become the reason that the other person got the job. They say we interviewed 200 people, but we did not find anybody better than my niece. Yeah, it's like in dictator countries, right? We had a very good election, but there is nobody better than my son. Yeah, so he's going to be the next president or whatever.
And he had over 100% of the votes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I forgot which country it was. It was the Northern African country where the the current president got more vote than the population of the country. He nearly got twice.
They love
Yeah,
him so much.
yeah, they loved him so much. They were like, I need to survive. So they are like, yeah, um, you know, I love this guy to death. Yeah, it's like the award functions of any film industry,
Hmm.
right? There is this very good new upcoming movie that did very well. Anyways, we are going to give the award to the most famous person here.
Yeah, they have this feeling, oh, this person's been in the industry a long time that they've never
Mhm.
won an award, so now it's their time.
Yeah, yeah. There is a musician in India, and what happened is he went on indie music awards,
Mm,
and they gave him the award because the person who was supposed to receive the original award was not there.
wow, that's crazy. That is,
And they told him onto his face, they are like, we are going to give you this award because the person who is supposed to receive this is not here.
it just doesn't make any sense.
you know and he just went public with that. He was like, you people have said this, and after that he has not never received an award.
Wow,
Yeah, it's been like 5 6 years,
that's crazy.
and he keeps being the top India artist, but still no award.
But then
Yeah.
this is the thing, then you still know you're the top. It's like I always joke that Britain always does badly in the Eurovision
Hmm.
song. Have you heard of Eurovision Song
Yeah, yeah,
Contest? Yeah, Britain
yeah,
always
yeah.
does badly,
Hmm.
and um, and then all these other European countries kind of, oh yeah, Britain, you're rubbish, and it's like we still have our own music industry. It might not be
Yeah.
doing very well, but in global terms, people
Yes.
actually buy our music.
Uh-huh.
People don't buy any of your music.
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
so okay, you might win this competition, but we
Hmm.
actually have an industry.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. John, if you had Trump as your president, he would say, I have one word for you, Adele.
Yes, he would. Yeah, he would.
That's all he would say. Yeah. He would say, we have the star of stars, you know. So yeah, do your, fake competition.
Yeah. Big competition.
Yeah. It's like fake news and fake competition go to both together very well. He's like, yeah, you're just faking it, man, at this point of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's your opinion about the UK rap scene?
UK rap scene.
Yeah.
So I know very, very little about rap, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting that our scene is very different to the States. That we've
Yeah.
got, um,
Because you have more knives than pistols.
yeah, yeah. I mean, no one shoots anyone here, but they stab
Yeah.
one another all the time. It's sad but true. But yeah, in the UK, it's really interesting that it's developed such a different sound um,
Mm-hmm.
to to other parts of the world, you instantly you hear it and you go, that's UK.
Yeah.
I mean, on so I know very little
Hmm.
about rap. Although this week I'm releasing
Hmm.
something on Substack,
Hmm.
um, and I put rap video from a rapper who's actually from my town
Hmm.
in the Substack,
Hmm.
and on Jazz Cow we've got a rapper, a
Hmm.
girl called Lay Full Stop, who is
What's his accent though?
she's from Manchester, so that's
Hmm.
in the
Okay.
north of England,
Yeah. So
and
northern accent.
but
Got it.
she's more from the she sounds more from the Midlands actually, so I'm not yeah, she's probably from there originally.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, she's very good.
Hmm.
And so I'm really excited about having her on the project. So yeah, LAY
Hmm.
full stop as in
Hmm.
um the dot.
Hmm. I love how you had to illustrate the full stop. You're like the dot.
Yeah, I'm like I don't even know what you had to describe it as.
Yeah. Yeah. I read a comment somewhere. They said, UK rappers cannot threaten Americans because what are you going to do with me? Poke me? I know it's a stupid comment though.
Yeah, it's sad that yeah. But the thing is, so much has been centered around that kind of gang thing and violence, but then
Yeah,
there's this
yeah.
whole scene that's nothing whatsoever to do that, and a
Mm,
lot of these guys, yeah, they're not interested in
yeah,
harming one another.
yeah. I mean, that's in a rap, right? You could talk about anything in rap.
Yeah, yeah. So the one I'm actually posting on my Substack is a
Hmm.
link to is someone talking about social media, um,
Hmm.
and there's nothing about stabbing or any of that stuff, which is good. I
Yeah.
think it's good with and the there's a guy Gil Scott Heron who was a kind of proto rapper, if you like,
Hmm.
and he would it was all very political stuff. He's really
Hmm.
interesting, and so yeah, you can do it about any topic.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know anything about Indian rap either. There must be
Yeah. Indian rap is very huge, man. It's very huge. Like we got the same, like crime rap, and then we got religious rap. We got like motivational rap. We got all sort of rap.
motivational rap.
Yeah.
So when it's religious rap, is that Hindu,
Mhm.
Christian, Muslim? What's the
It's not religious as such. It's
okay?
just the vibe of it is more religious, so they're like, do good and be good and all these things.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's more of a religious rap. Yeah, we got too many raps here. um yeah. So okay, now, moving away from the rap scene.
Mm,
Yeah, I also saw you had a website called as bento.com, right?
yes,
Where you talk about restaurants and bars and hotels diaries, right?
but no. So Ben, oh, there must have been a mistake because
Mm-hmm.
Ben2.me is it Ben2?
I got bento.com.
Oh, was that in an email to you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a mistake. It's
Uh-huh.
ben2.me slash
Uh-huh.
jazzcow.
Got
Right.
it.
Yeah. So I know nothing about bars and restaurants really.
But are you into food?
I
Do you
like
like
food.
food?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a good part, right?
yeah. Had some nice South African food yesterday. I was at a South African person's house.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but yeah, I love food.
Yeah. I mean, imagine someone says, I hate food. Like, I don't like food at all. Like,
Sad life.
yeah. Yeah, it's too bad for you. But I feel good that you're saying food for me. Yeah. Um, so, coming towards the end of our podcast.
Mm.
Yeah. So, what's your future plans? in terms of business and but also Jazz Cow?
Yeah, so business, we're just hoping to grow, get more clients,
Hmm.
and just um, hopefully get more and more creative projects that kind of
Hmm.
become more prevalent. And then with
Hmm.
Jazz Cow, we want to. So in autumn, we're launching on Kickstarter,
Hmm.
and so you can see the full stuff at jazzcow.co.uk or jazzcow.tv if that's easier. And um, yeah, and at Jazz Cow, we we're hoping to raise money for a 20-minute episode and
Hmm.
then use that episode. Obviously the people that have given money will get to see that and all the rest,
Hmm.
but then we're hoping to get that out there and ideally get a series off the back of it.
Hmm. So that would be kind of a pilot
Yeah, pilot
episode.
episode. Yeah.
Hmm. Got it. So like, when are you launching all these things in terms of Jazz Cow?
Yeah, so in autumn, probably it will be mid September.
Mid
Um,
September.
and
Of this
so
year.
of this year, yeah.
Hmm.
So if
Got it.
you actually go to jazzcow.tv, you can
Hmm.
see there's the link to get the get notified when it launches, mailing
Yeah.
list and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's um we did have a date in the past that we were going to
Hmm.
launch, and then I had to backtrack that. So I don't want egg on my face again, and then to say a date and then get it and then be wrong. So that's why I'm a little bit mid September.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a safer bet, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, because you could even call 25th as mid September.
yeah,
Yeah. John, thank you so much for being here and taking
that's
your
a
time.
pleasure.
I know it's a precious time because you are a business owner. Um, but any like last words that you would like to say?
Uh, I don't think particularly. I mean, do go to jazzcow.tv,
Mhm.
jazzcow.tv, and yeah, have a great day. Enjoy.
Thank you so much. And guys, with that, all of the links of the Jazz Cow and John will be in the episode description. So go there, check him out, and also if possible, support him. Right? It does not take a lot of time to support. So let's support him. And yeah, with that, thank you so much for being here. And until next episode, take care.